I just came back from a flea market and I got a PlayStation 1 for $10. It's pretty cool. I also got like the cool ass dual analog stick one. It's pretty sick. What I noticed when I got it was there's a game in it, but it's blank. It's a blank disc. There's no telling what could be on here. Man, fuck this shit, dude. Shit.
Nobody likes paying for stuff. I know I don't, but you gotta pay for stuff. It's the law. Well, sometimes people don't give a heck about the law. That's right, I'm talking about piracy. Picture this. You just made like a new Picasso painting, right? And you say, this is a great Picasso painting. Someone will buy it. But instead, someone takes a picture of it, and they didn't even have to pay for it. Now that's just not kosher. Okay, that's actually a terrible analogy, but piracy's kinda like that. It's like stealing something, but something digital. You wouldn't download a car, I mean, you know. Video games got a big problem with piracy. The Sega CD is like the easiest thing to pirate. All you need is a disc and the game's .iso file or something. It's like piss easy. My car could do it. The Sega Dreamcast is also pretty easy to pirate. The only real hindrance was the fact that in the early 90s, a CD burner, which is now like a button away on a common computer, was the price of a very expensive hooker. In fact, it cost as much as something that was very expensive. In a shocking twist, Sega's only console to be mostly protected from piracy was the Sega Saturn, whose copy protection was just barely figured out this year. Both the Sega Saturn and the Sony PlayStation required mod chips before they could play anything pirated. The PlayStation seemed to be more of a breeding ground for pirates, probably because the Saturn was lame, and was more susceptible to more copied games being played, especially when one of the ways to play them required basically just a Game Shark, a regular PlayStation disc, and the pirated game. If my PlayStation can play this disc, that'll mean it has a mod chip. Which, you know, is actually pretty cool, because despite me not being a real disc burner guy myself, I know that the PlayStation I now own has a history, where the previous owner cared enough to go through the effort of burning a disc and installing a mod chip. And if the previous owner went through the hassle of installing a mod chip and burning this disc, this has gotta be some fucking quality shit.
Konami? You mean, Castlevania Konami? You mean, that Konami? You know, let's just see where this goes. Let's see where it takes us. Me likey Konami. Me likey 90s Konami.
Fisherman's Bait, a bass challenge.
Okay, from what I can understand, beginner mode is like practice to get you acquainted with how the game works. Training is just like a regular one lake short game of fishing, and tournament is like a bunch of different lakes where you compete against other AI players, I guess. Seems simple enough. As you can see here, however, versus mode is blocked out because I don't have any friends to play with and the game knows that. Oh. Let's see my options here. Difficulty, well, medium's alright. I ain't no expert fisherman or anything, but I ain't no pussy who plays on easy, you know what I'm saying? Credit and playtime. So this is arcade style, huh? Alright, well, I mean, I'll just keep the defaults. You know, I don't want to mess with anything here. Live well, what's that? Oh, it's like an aquarium. Alright, well, how do I leave? Look, I pressed X and O, and I tried all the damn face buttons. Why won't it let me leave? Oh, it's L1. What the fuck kind of go back button is that? I've never heard of L1 being used as a cancel button ever in my life. Well, if I think about it, actually, it kind of makes sense. Like the leave button or something. No, that's fucking dumb. Why wasn't it O? Or like the Japanese control scheme, X? I'm gonna write to my damn congressman about this. Let's dive into this and try out beginner. Haha, get my epic fish joke? I don't know which spot on the lake to pick. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo, catch a... whatever, who gives a fuck? Dude, I don't know what lures do what. Just give me the best choice for this area marker or something, man. I don't... oh, Lord, what... whenever I press a button, there's such a delay in anything happening on screen, I feel like the game crashed or something. So here's the biggest problem I have with this game. The control. I can't figure out for the life of me how to appropriately control this. Maybe they wanted to simulate a real fishing rod, so they have you do all these elaborate things with the controller. I'm just following instructions here. Maybe there's a fishing rod peripheral out there for the PS1. I mean, there's one for the Dreamcast, so why not? Look at how I have to contort my hands to play this. I may or may not be retarded, but I'm following the directions to the T. This is stupid. It's straining my palms. Oh, and this is how it goes whenever you catch a fish. Yeah, not game fish. Fuck you. Every dang time I catch a dang fish, it says not game fish. Once. Fucking once have I gotten a fish that was game fish. Now, what the hell is game fish? Well, I don't know. I don't know anything about fishing. If you're not a hot fisherman, you won't understand this game, and you most likely won't have fun with this game. But even then, I doubt someone who likes fishing will like this. These controls are terrible, at least to me, you know. And while the graphics aren't awful, they're really nothing special either. Looks like Virtua Fighter. Virtua Fighter with actual pictures for backgrounds. Yeah, here's something odd. The game designers took real pictures of locations to use for backgrounds in the lakes. I mean, they used real pictures of fish boys at their annual fish gathering event for the intro, so it's consistent, but it's just odd to me. I know that it's common for developers to use actual pictures for textures and things in games, but it's not often that most of the graphics in a game are just straight up pictures. I mean, it doesn't really look bad. It looks kinda alright. It's kinda charming, actually. So now that we've taken a look at the controls and the graphics, how does it really play? Well, boringly, I guess. You've got all these lures and lake spots, and I don't know the positives or negatives to anything. The game tells you the date and the time and temperature and weather, but because I'm not that big on fishing, I don't know what any of that really means. Maybe it's logical. Maybe the hotter it is, the bigger the fish will be, and the colder it is, the smaller. The heads-up display is actually kind of alright, big enough to where it doesn't feel too intrusive. The meter on the right represents the amount of weight your line is pulling, and if it gets into the red, it might snap. Dang! I think the line square is pretty self-explanatory, but if you're not as smart as I am, it tells you how far the fish is from you. The tournament game mode is the same as that beginner training mode, but without the instructions on screen, and with a results screen after a match. You get up to 10 minutes in this mode, provided you catch enough fish to get to 10 minutes. There's also a tiny bit of music. It plays every so often, not necessarily during the real gameplay. It's not bad music by any means. In fact, it's pretty good, but there's not much of it. There's not much in the audio department, really. During the period where you actually play, all you hear are little ambient noises of the lake. It's actually kinda nice. And then when you finally get a fish on the hook, whoa mama! This happens whenever you hook a fish, and every few seconds it goes back to the camera showing the fish fighting for his life. It honestly doesn't break the flow of the game, it's just kinda dumb because all I'm doing is catching a dang fish. But I like it. That timer really bothers me, and there is an option to increase it, but a small part of me wishes there was an option to just take it out altogether. I understand why the timer is there, so that you have something to fight against, but it would be a lot nicer if there was no timer. If you were allowed to just sit and fish and take it all in. Never mind, that sounds lame. Come on, bitch, reel 'em in. Yeah! You know, this game just really isn't for me. I'm sure some people like it. It's in a very niche corner of the sports genre, but I'm just not into virtual fishing. I'm not too into real fishing either, so I guess you can say that I'm biased. But at the end of the day, the game's alright. It's a little boring. It's just not my thing. If it's your thing, you might really not want to. There's a lot of better fishing games out there, especially considering that it's 2016. So keep that in mind.
Game over.
The toad. The sacred toad. Battletoads has been plagued by memery, and I don't think that's right. Battletoads is fucking great. You know what? I have to reveal the truth. The truth about Battletoads. I have to talk about it. It's my duty as a game reviewer, as a shitty game reviewer, to talk about Battletoads.